In today's gospel, we heard John ask the question, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we look for another?" Remember, John had staked his life on the message that the centuries-old hope of his people were about to be fulfilled. But the fulfillment that seemed to have arrived in Jesus was quite different from what he and his followers had expected. John's question reveals that he was having a crisis of faith. He was beginning to wonder if Jesus was the one he had believed and proclaimed him to be. And in today's reading, John realized, or rather discovered, that faith is not a once-for-all decision, but it's a decision which must be constantly renewed. Because without renewing our faith every day, we really don't have much of a faith. And today, from the answer that Jesus gave to his question, John learned, and us too, something far more important. You see, John and we learn that faith is always free. And to accept it or not is our free choice. In today's gospel, Christ did not answer, "Yes, I am," or "No, I'm not." But rather he said, "Go back and report to John what you hear and see." Instead of a yes or no answer, the answer that John was seeking, Christ offered John the evidence that John needed to reach his own faith decision. In asking John to consider the evidence, Jesus was asking John the exact same thing that he asks of you and me. A free decision based on the evidence of his words and deeds. A decision that we make, the decision that each one of us makes, not that someone else makes for us. An intentional decision, a decision to become intentional disciples. Not people who live our faith out of habit or behind closed doors, but because we make a decision, an intentional decision to live our faith each and every day and not just on Sunday. Our acceptance of faith in God is free, but is something that needs to be constantly renewed. And that renewal requires that we're doing something that we're not very good at, to have patience. And this is what James wrote about in today's second reading, patience. James was addressing people who were in a crisis of faith also, wondering that since the Lord is a long time coming, maybe he won't come at all. To address their crisis of faith, James writes that the coming of the Lord is at hand, but they must wait. Wait is coming with patience. Just like the farmer waiting for his crops to ripen, just like parents waiting for our infant children to walk and talk, we must accept that some things just cannot be hurried. We must wait for them in patience. And having to do this in a culture where we want everything immediately can create a crisis of faith for us. Remember, it was God who first enabled us to make our decision for faith. And in today's Eucharist, right here today, he gives us the strength to renew that decision. And it is in the Eucharist that he gives us the strength and patience to endure life's trials while we wait his coming. At a recent day of reflection, I heard Father Chris Martin share that 45% of the people surveyed wish they could skip the Christmas season due to stress and unrealistic expectations. My prayer for all of us today is that we not become part of that 45%. And we let the remainder of this season of Advent be a time for all of us to become intentional disciples, constantly renewing our faith and our commitment to use our hands to do God's work, and to walk in his paths as we serve others in need. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Please rise. It is our